Well, now I don't know what to do. It's just a matter of thinking, do I have the energy and do I wish to do anything? Perhaps today I'm just going to, drink coffee and watch TV, read newspaper, or going for a walk, so not doing anything specifically. But actually I'm doing too little of that. Should do that more. It seems like almost every day I try to do something, and of course, many of the things are things that I really don't want to do, but have to do. For example, being a janitor, for my sons up here, and other things as well. Of course, would much rather spend time on the radio. But there you are. Okie doke, what else to comment? Probably nothing much special. Finally, we can put on, the radio or the TV, or I would say even social media, without being drowned by the U.S. election anymore. Of course, still, this media is talking about this transition and all the kind, but, most of us now are so tired about it all. So hopefully we will soon get past 20th of January so we can forget about it a while. So there you are. What else? Nothing more, I guess, Fred. That's already starting to become dark outside, so there you see. 50% dark, so in 15 minutes it's already dark over here, Fred. And it's only 15 minutes or 16 minutes past 2 o'clock. K3ZO, LE7JO.
LE7JO, K3ZO, yeah. I don't watch the TV anymore except to watch American football. Ever since this election was over, I kind of disgusted with the whole situation. But I do get the Washington Post every morning. In fact, I just renewed my subscription here yesterday, just sent my money in for another month of home delivery. And so that's where I get the news nowadays. And then if there's some story that I'm particularly interested in, why, I then will follow it up online where you can get more specific information. Like, for example, this surprising rise in the solar flux number was not expected by most of the experts. And so now you have this Scottish guy, professor from Scotland, that has invented this new 22-year cycle system. And the things that he and his group predicted back, several years ago is turning out to be exactly right. And for them, this very fast rise in the cycle is no surprise. It's exactly what they predicted. So it's like they put their finger on the exact phenomenon. And so the prediction now of these guys is that this cycle that we're starting now is going to be almost a record-breaking. It will be as good as any of the most recent cycles since our lifetime, except for cycle 19. It will be the best cycle except for cycle 19 that we've ever had. So this makes me want to stay alive a little longer, Steve, so I can experience this, because I will have 2-meter auroras again, where I was working in Texas and Louisiana on aurora on 2 meters. We'll have that again now, and perhaps in 4 or 5 years from now. So this is going to be, this is something to keep me alive, to be interested in looking ahead to see what's going to happen now with this cycle. Already looking forward to the 10-meter contest in a couple of weeks, which should be very interesting. Anyway, as far as what I do, well, yes, I told, we had unfortunately, we lost the Whiskey 3 Alpha Zulu Delta, Don Search, who for many years was the chief of the DXCC operation at ARL headquarters. And in recent years, he retired to Florida, and he was one of our sorters in our bureau, because in W3, of course. He sorted the A stuffings for us, and he passed away recently. And so in his honor, I told the league that instead of sending my expenses to them for reimbursement every 3 months like normal, in his honor, I would pay all of the bureau expenses myself. It's not really that much. Not really that much. It amounts to about $2,000 a year. So, of course, in honor of W3As at DY, I'm just putting up all the expenses myself, and it makes it a lot easier for me from the standpoint of working, because I don't have to send in all these receipts and everything all the time. So it's more money but less work as far as that's concerned, and it's not that much money really, all things considered, especially since you just mentioned drug companies that are getting into the production of this vaccine. One of them is Pfizer, and my father had Pfizer stock for years, and then when he passed away, I inherited it, and it just kept, they would have a stock split, and all at once you got twice as many shares as you had before, and it kept splitting over the years. And so let's just put it this way: I have a lot of Pfizer stock. So from a purely selfish financial point of view, I'm not complaining about the fact that they're in the forefront of this vaccine, because it will be putting more money in my pocket. And right at this time of year is when we get all of the capital gains checks from the different companies that I'm invested in. So this is always a pretty good time. And strangely enough, we don't, you never know what the stock market is going to do when these political events happen. But the stock market has broken records since Biden was declared the winner. So apparently Wall Street's very happy with the way the election turned out. And that, I may not have been happy with the result of the election, but I can be happy with the results of the election. So there you go, LA7JO, K3ZO.
Yeah, very good, Fred. K3ZO, LA7JO. Yeah, that's a very good description, I guess, from your point of view. Being a Republican. And, well, I am, I guess, as mentioned many times before, independent. I know you are an independent voter, I think you told me, Fred. And in Europe, we tend to call it conservative and mostly social democratic. What you call for Republican and Democratic, it's basically exactly the same thing, just another name. And I guess I am somewhere in the middle there, in the centrum, as we call it, but basically independent. I have voted various things, and I think you mentioned one time, Fred, that you tend to vote for the person, if you think the person is very competent for, the state or the federal government, for the state or the federal government administration. I tend to do the same. Vote for people I think are competent, although it is not always that easy, because actually what we vote in the parliament, is for parties. So you really have to see who are in the forefront of the various parties. Okay, that we can discuss another time, Fred. We have done many times before, and it's a subject that keeps arising, but it's an ever-changing story and very interesting, and certainly I do not and have never voted on one part, the social democratic Democrats or the conservatives, the Republicans, just, out of ideology. I never have done that, and I will never do. I have a much more practical approach. So I'm happy for you that the result of the election is okay, although perhaps not, the primary election, from the other point of view. And surprisingly, I think I mentioned that once before, that I would have thought, that the international finance markets, would have gone, really suffered, with all the quarrels that have been in the U.S. for the last year leading up to the election. As of course, U.S. is the locomotive of the world's economy still, and probably still will be for many years to come. But as I have understood from the little I follow, it's only, of course, it's ripples up and down all the time. That is, the stock market in a nutshell. But in the average long line, it keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So that must be very good for all the stockholders of the world. I don't have any, so it doesn't infect me in any way, but it's very, very interesting to follow, of course. Okay, Fred, I think I will pull out of here, go and get another cup of coffee. I am not planning to do absolutely nothing here today. Came home 9:30 last night. And of course, left 1 week before on last Wednesday on schedule morning, left home 7 o'clock in the morning. So I've been away for a week, and it's been relatively little of sleep every day. So I need to relax and probably have a nap. I slept long today, and we'll have a nap in the afternoon, and probably by tomorrow we'll be back to usual. I'm feeling great, and I'm happy about the contest. But you know how it is. After a little sleep and all that stuff, takes a little while before your body is back. By the way, commenting on the Africans, Bert Andy, of course, and a couple of other Africans. As I mentioned to Andy, never heard the Tango Juliet Sierra. I saw on this cluster the other Tango Juliet. I think it was X-ray. There might have been another one as well. But the one or both of them turned out to be, wrongly copied calls because they simply were not on frequency as spotted and nobody were calling. So that's what I concluded. And of course, while operating, run, Fred, I'm always listening around on the second VFO, for picking multipliers. Not SO2R. I never done that. But when operating, on a band, like 20 meter or any band, I'm trying to hold a run frequency as long as I can, and parallel to that, listening and following, of course, using the available tools to pick multipliers on the same band. On 40 meters, I think we did, let me think now, I think we did somewhere between 2006, or was it 700 and 2,800. I think, around 2,700 QSOs, I believe. And I did most of them. But there was another operator, of course, also on 40 meter. And on 20, by the way, 40 meter, this time was our best band. Remember in the SSB part, Fred, I mentioned that we had a huge problem on 40. For some unknown reason, 40 meter was the heaviest impact from the solar flare we had in the SSB contest. But this time it was the opposite. This time 40 meter was our best band. The second best was 20, where we made about 2,500, I think. So out of the 10,300, 50% were made on 40 and 20. K3ZO, LA7JO.
LA7JO, K3ZO. I'm just moving the I just moved a big Yagi over to you. So now we're on the Yagi pointed at you because I noticed that the darkness coming to your way has begun to lower your signal. So now we got the full firepower there pointed at you as Stake. And Fine on 40, my best band for multipliers was 40. My best band for contacts was 20. But very, very interesting as far as the conditions were concerned. 40. I started on 40, and over here I don't try to run early in the contest because every signal is new. So I started on the low end of 40, and not right on the low end. I started about 7025 and went up and worked everybody along the way. And the nice thing about it is that the rare multipliers are in there running, and they don't have a big pileup because everybody's still trying to adjust to the beginning of the contest. So during the first hour, as I went up the band, I worked Alpha 4, Alpha 6, Alpha 7. Tango 6 Alpha was in there from Afghanistan. A special call just for the contest. Only one by one instead of 1 by 2. And 8Q7. So the first hour I had some very nice multipliers because there was no pileup on them. They were not getting any more calls than anybody else. The packet hadn't yet caught up with them and their RBN. So that first hour, multiplier-wise, in addition to being able to work 3 or 4 stations every minute, as I moved up the band, the multiplier count was very good also during that hour. Worked a very nice, juicy DX, just because they're all in there calling CQ, and they didn't have a big pileup, so I was able to get right through. So the first hour is always interesting for me, and I always start on 40 for the big international contest. It's just dark over here, and so 20 is already, if I were to start on 20, I would be limited more or less to South Americans by the time the contest starts. Although the way conditions are going with the solar flux going up, it will also have some Asians in there at the beginning of the contest now. So anyway, it's always very interesting, and with this new cycle going up so rapidly, it's going to be very interesting to follow. It's just the sort of thing that I can use to keep myself alive. So I guess that's about it for me too, Steak. Haven't had breakfast yet, but there's nothing to do. I got to go to the laundry, to the dry cleaner and get my pants clean because I'm starting to run out. And also have to go to the bank and deposit a few checks. Outside of that, no outside activities required. And of course, at the bank, I don't even get out of the car. I just go to the drive-in. So that's nice. So anyway, that's about it for now. By the way, I made a stupid. I felt very stupid. I have my cell phone is a track phone. So once a year I buy a card for $100, and then I get another year worth of service plus all kinds of extra minutes and everything, which I never end up using because I have the cell phone off most of the time. So I went over to a store here which is called Target, one of our big box stores, and bought my usual year-end, because it always runs out around my birthday time. I remember that. So I bought my usual, minutes for my yearly renewal of my cell phone number, and everything went through fine. Used a credit card and everything. The cell phone, the new number of days never showed up on my cell phone. And I was wondering, what the heck? Why isn't that? 2 or 3 days ago I paid, and I still don't have the new time showing up on my cell phone. And then I realized, Fred, you have to have the cell phone on so it can load that stuff down. I'm one of the few people that keep the cell phone off all the time. But it has to be on for an hour or two so that the cell phone, so that the telephone knows that it's got new minutes to add. So I felt kind of stupid about the way I handled that situation. Okay, Steve, we'll see you next week, hopefully, and hopefully we'll have Tony with us one of these days again. LA7JO, K3ZO.
Yeah, fine, Fred. You are S9++. Yeah, the conditions were dipping a bit, but you became stronger, of course, with the Yagi, and now it's coming up again because you were way over 9. Yeah, right about the cell phone and keeping it on. Yeah, same with me, Fred. I don't keep the phone very much on, and if I keep it on, I don't know where it is. It's laid somewhere in the house, and my wife shouts, somebody is phoning you. And I said, why? You have to take the telephone. I don't answer it, so it's more or less the same. Yeah, talking about thinking foolish, I have to tell you, just remembered, before I forget, it was a very funny, and I was not feeling stupid, I was just laughing at myself. While I was running on 20, I saw it was a Yankee Victor multiplier, reported on the cluster. And of course, I listened on the second VFO, and I heard him extremely weak. And I gave a call, while, listening if I got any answers on VFO A, and somebody came back, and said, I heard 59909 or 08, whatever, I don't remember that now, and I thought I had worked him, and put it in the log. And then, apparently, after, just 2-3 minutes, somebody said locally, they saw, I was working Yankee Victor, congratulations. And then it struck me, where the heck did I work this YV5? I looked at the frequency, and it was 14100. And then it came back to go, oh my Jesus, I have worked a beacon. So apparently I called a beacon without thinking of it myself. And somebody else was working in that area, was working almost on the same frequency, giving us the report. And I just suddenly started to laugh, and somebody asked, what's going on? Well, I said, I think I probably made a new record in CQ Worldwide. I just worked a beacon, on the International Beeping Network as a new multiplier. So that was a good story, and we laughed about it after the contest, Fred. 73s, have a good day, and good luck at the laundry and the bank and everything, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday. K3ZO, LA7JO.
Okay, hey, how about that? It always pays. Well, I don't have that problem because, I don't have the packet here when I'm on the air. So I don't have to worry about packet spots. And that's one thing I enjoy not having to worry about. You remember when I was operating in Thailand, when I would have to ask Champ, how do I do this? How do I get this guy? Because I didn't know anything about it. Thanks a lot, 73, and we'll see you next week. LA7JO, K3ZO.
Yeah, see you.
Again, okay, N4ISK3ZO. Hello, Carlos. Well, I wanted to say that for me, the Waller flag has not worked very well on 160 because there's just too many relays and everything in the system, and it caused some problems with the relay in my FTZX 5000. However, what I want to tell you especially is that it works beautifully on 80 meters. I'm using an Amico preamp, an old Amico preamp that W8LRL sold to me. And he helped me out a great deal to adjust everything here, along with Ken K4ZW. with the Amoco preamp, the horizontally placed Waller flag on 80 meters works beautifully. And here I thought that I was receiving very well already with a 3-element Yagi on 80 meters. But what the flag does is cuts down the big strong signal from nearby stations running on the band and allows the DX to come through loud. So I'm sorry that I never got the Waller flag to work as desired on 160, but it has turned out to be a wonderful antenna on 80 meters. And 4IS K3ZO.